Welcome to GabTalks, where we provide tools, tips, and techniques to help your life and business be easier, better, and faster. Hello, everybody. How are you today? And welcome to our next episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. I get the distinct honor of interviewing Tom Kavanaugh. Hey, Tom, how's it going today?
Gabriella, how are you today?
I'm doing fantastic, and even better because I get to talk to you.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure being here. Appreciate it.
Absolutely. So please share with our audience all about your expertise.
Well, I started out a long time ago because I didn't know how to learn. So it eventually led me to the area where I have an expertise in helping people overcome the effects of trauma in their life, whether it's through the emerging from the pandemic, having the trauma of that for business owners trying to figure out what you're going to do and so forth, or whether it's helping somebody overcome their experience with trauma.
So you and I have talked about that, and I know you have several videos that show people who have overcome trauma. Will you share with our audience about your history and your experience that got you to be the expert that you are today?
Well, thank you. So when I was younger, I experienced some physical trauma, head trauma and so forth, and different accidents I'd been through. And what it ended up causing was it ended up causing a state of what's now known as dyslexia. And at the time, we didn't have that word for it. But
Right.
everything that I did was completely reversed. And I went through my entire adult career thinking that I didn't know how to learn. And therefore, I had to stay in an industry where I could use the intelligence I felt I have, but not the academic intelligence, just the ability to converse with people. So I spent 26 years in the automobile business and decided to retire. And before I was going to retire, I made a goal that I wanted to go back to school and complete my education. So I went back to school. As a dyslexic, I have a big challenge in understanding and comprehending information.
Right.
So I sought different ways to learn, and I was exposed to and led to different accelerated learning programs. And each of those programs allowed me at a different level to be able to learn and integrate and comprehend the information much faster and more efficiently.
I would like to ask you about your influences. Will you share that with us?
Sure. So the first person who was a major influence in my life, a gentleman by the name of Bill Bowie. He was the owner of Bowie's Pet Shop, and he was my first employer. And he acted almost as a surrogate father for me for about 5 years and taught me the huge benefit and the impact of what being in business for yourself meant, as well as how to go about making yourself financially secure for the future, and more importantly, how to communicate with people on a level where they felt they were the most important thing in the world at the time. And then as I began my learning journey when I retired, I was exposed to the concept of what's now known as photo reading. And the gentleman who created that is Dr. Paul Sheely out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. And he's a partner in a company called Learning Strategies, which is where I began my learning journey. And he created in me the desire that I already have a genius mind. I can tap into that. All I have to do is learn the techniques, and everything that I've wanted my whole life was already there. I just need to learn how to access it.
Yeah, that's awesome. And then you mentioned two other people that were very influential to you.
And they continue to be influential to me today. Their names are Carl Bryan and Adrian Ulsh, and they are partners in a global coaching community, which I'm a part of. And they continue to provide training and influence for me on a daily basis in what I do now as a business strategy coach.
Well, and what I really love about what you just said is you get training, even at your level of expertise, you still continue on a daily basis to get more training for yourself. And that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think it's critically important that you continue to feed your mind just as much as you feed your body. Just like when you exercise or you eat or you drink water or you sleep, you still have to nourish the brain and the mind at the same time, because otherwise we start to atrophy and we start to regress in life. And this is the way for us to keep motivated to move forward.
Absolutely. Hello, hello, awesome listener. Thank you so much for joining us today at GabTalks Success Tips from Experts. We're going to take a short break and say thank you to our sponsors. It is through the generous support of these sponsors that we are able to bring to you these amazing experts that are sharing their best tips for your success. So please listen to what our sponsors have to say, and hopefully they're going to inspire you that you're going to click their links and go support them. You've all heard and you know how powerful it is to send thank you cards, notes of appreciation, and gifts that build and maintain relationships. However, writing and sending generic impersonal greetings and gifts one by one just is so overwhelming and takes so much time. Not to mention, these days, who wants to deal with lines at the post office, running out of stamps, or having to print stamps yourself? And then there's the embarrassment of missing an important date altogether. Yikes. So what can you do? If you go to marketyourbiz.guru, you will be able to get help with your greetings and gifts that are printed, stamped, stuffed, and mailed automatically for you. Make sure that you tell them Gabriella sent you.
It's time to take a vacation from processed foods. The ultimate lifestyle transformation kit will upgrade the way you look, feel, and perform, or will give you your money back, guaranteed. By taking a vacation from processed foods, you will detoxify your organs, cleanse your cells, and remove chemicals from your gut. And once you begin to nourish your cells and balance your hormones, you may notice increased energy, lower stress, deeper sleep, heightened mental clarity, improved digestion, and sexy lean muscle. Any of that sound interesting to you? You have nothing to lose and everything to gain. You already eat every day, and what you eat really matters. This is your chance to upgrade your food, upgrade your health, and upgrade your life.
So one of the important things I think for our audience, we have some younger members, but we also have a lot of people that are pivoting and changing careers. So if you were going to give one piece of advice to that high school student or that person changing careers and pivoting, what would that be?
I think the best advice I could give would be to learn how to learn.
What does that look like?
There are several different accelerated learning techniques I recommend to all of my students and my clients. And the reason is because they took someone like me who went back to school at the age of 55 to complete their degree. And not only did I complete my undergraduate degree in 12 months, but I also went on to earn a master's degree in 16 months. And these techniques allowed me to achieve a level of proficiency. We call it an A, but I had straight A's throughout my learning and my college career, mainly because they give me access to the information that I've been taught.
That is quite impressive.
So the techniques, first of all, is mind mapping. That's one of the easiest techniques to learn. It's a way of visually representing information on a piece of paper in a map format drawn by your brain, so that when you go back to review your notes from what you've learned, the brain feels the information's already familiar because it's what it created for you. Instead of, or opposed to, taking linear notes where you're trying to decipher the meaning of each of the words in the notes along a straight line, there are no straight lines in the brain. So when you complete a mind map, what you're doing is you're building the pathway to learning for your brain, where it will not only understand and comprehend the information, but it will easily remember it as well. That's what led me to photo reading. And photo reading, in my opinion, is the greatest learning skill anyone can acquire in their lifetime. And the reason is, especially for someone who was a dyslexic like myself, it completely bypasses the critical faculty of conscious processing and installs the information at our subconscious level, which is a great database of information where everything we've seen, heard, learned, or done is stored. So now you have access to all of that information, and you don't have to worry about the dyslexia clogging the filter of your processing. The next that I would talk about would be how to set and achieve goals. In my opinion, the SMART goal process is the best goal setting process ever devised. If you can learn how to set and achieve goals through the SMART goal process, and you have the self-discipline to follow the plan, then your goals can be achieved. And finally, I think equally as important as all of what I've just described to you is the ability to network. The most successful people on the planet build and continue to grow networks of people of influence. Yeah. And the more networks that you get involved in, the more networks you can grow, and you become the influencer, which is really what's going to help propel your business.
Yeah, for sure. There's two things you said that I really want to touch a little bit further on. So the network, one thing you just said was being involved in multiple networks, which is really interesting because I meet a lot of people and they get themselves involved in like 3 networking groups and they get very entrenched into their chamber and to their single seat industry and whatever. And I have always been one of those where, oh, that looks interesting, let me give it a try when it comes to networking. And I have gone to thousands of networking events. Almost always I meet new people. Can you talk about that for a sec?
Sure, I feel the exact same way. I believe that if you limit yourself to just 1, 2, or 3 local networks, then you are limiting your ability to grow, both as an individual in exposure to new people and new ideas, but also in limiting the ability for your business to grow into new areas as well. So the multiple networks would be on a local scale, which would be similar to your Chamber of Commerce or one of the other organizations that do really good work in the community, but also communities like Alignable and LinkedIn. Those are platforms where they're designed for business owners or business people or even professionals who are there to network. Alignable is more of a network for the local business community, whereas LinkedIn, I find, is a network for a more national or even a global community. So Absolutely. Those are the different levels of networking that I would highly recommend people get involved in.
And let's not forget our local service organizations. You don't go to a service organization for networking, you go to do service, but very often business quietly happens among members. I am very active in an organization where I live, and we don't talk business, and yet everyone does business with each other.
But I think that the service organizations are having a double benefit for the individuals. Number one, when we achieve a certain level of success, it's incumbent upon us. It's really our responsibility to give back into our community to those who are coming up behind us. Yes. So I think the service organizations fill that need to be able to give back. The second part of a service organization, as you just mentioned, is that business comes as a natural byproduct of giving things away. I recently had an experience where I gave away a lot of content, free, valuable content on Alignable. And out of that, it wasn't my intention to create business. It was my intention to create awareness and to freely give. A lot of business came my way because of the fact that I was willing to give to other people who needed my assistance. So I agree with you 100%. The service organizations are critical to the success of a local community.
On each episode of GabTalks Success Tips from Experts, we like to highlight a hero sponsor who is a business that chooses to highlight a do-good organization in their own community that is bettering the world. Today's hero sponsor is...
Hello world, this is Z, or you can call me Mr. Z. I am a web developer and I am also a consultant from Z World Webs. Today I want to highlight the Unity Foundation. The Unity Foundation is a nonprofit organization with a 46-year history of promoting peace, cooperation, and of course, unity throughout the world. For the past 22 years, the Unity Foundation's main focus has been using their media platforms to help humanitarians working for peace, make this world a better place, and promote the United Nations since 1984. To learn more about the Unity Foundation, please visit their website at www.unityfoundation.world. The link can be found in the show notes. So with that being said, my name is Z from Z World Webs, and let's develop a website Z World is waiting for.
So there's another thing that you mentioned when you were giving your tips that really struck me, and that was the SMART goal setting. I know that there's a lot of people out there that are good at setting goals and not following through, or people like myself, where when I do my list of goals, as long as I don't make it so long that I can't get through them, I'm actually pretty good at getting to my goals. Will you talk a little bit about SMART goals for a moment?
Sure. So SMART goals is an acronym, SMART. So the S stands for simple and specific. You don't want to complicate your brain with a lot of different thinking. So make the goal very simple and make it very specific. Remember that the goal process is designed for our subconscious mind to act upon whatever we've put down there. Our subconscious mind acts at the level of an 8-year-old, intellectually and emotionally. It takes everything personal. It takes the path of least resistance, and it needs direction. So the simple and the specific is designed for that part of the subconscious mind. The M stands for meaningful, that's our emotional attachment, and measurable. You have to be able to measure, because what gets measured gets done. The A stands for achievable and as if now. So in other words, you want to make sure that it's a goal that you can achieve. Even if you have to stretch yourself, you know that it's possible to achieve. And the as if now means that you want to be able to visualize yourself in possession of the goal right now. So when you set that in your mind, you want to be able to think and see yourself in possession of it. The R stands for reasonable and reachable. Even though it's achievable, is it a reasonable goal? That's important.
Right.
And reachable means that you are going to have a pathway, and I'll get to that in just a second, that will allow you to achieve the goal. And the final part, which is, in my opinion, the most important, is it needs to be a goal that has a time frame on it to achieve it. And it needs to be in the direction towards the goal, not something that you don't want. Whenever I ask people what they want, a lot of the times they will tell me what they don't want instead of what they tell me what they do want. So the timing part is critical. And then moving towards the achievement of a worthwhile goal is really what you're looking for. You want to have a forward progression.
So that's really awesome. And I think for our audience that's listening, that is a really important thing to take away from this interview, is the importance of doing SMART goal setting when you're doing your networking. And you guys are absolutely going to want to learn how to do it yourselves using mind mapping and using photo reading. And the way to do that is actually reach out to Tom. So will you share with them how they can get a hold of you?
Sure. So my email address is tom@New Coaching Strategies, and my website is newcoachingstrategies.com. And I'm also available on Alignable and on LinkedIn. So you can reach me in both of those places.
Awesome. Now, before we started the interview, we were talking about the fact that you've written several books yourself, and the audience can actually reach out to you and get a copy. And you have an extra special bonus when they reach out to you to get a copy of your book. Will you share that with us?
Sure. So if you go onto the website, newcoachingstrategies.com, there's a little button there you can fill out for information. And in the process, you'll receive a digital complimentary copy of my first book, Business Coaching Secrets. And I think that you'll also find will be the offer that I'm allowing everybody to have, which is that I can help any business owner discover $50,000 in their business in less than 90 minutes without them investing an additional dollar in marketing or advertising. And I'm willing to do that at no charge through the proprietary software we use in our company that will help you get a good roadmap, because it'll populate a roadmap for you at the end. And I'll send that to you by digital format, and you can follow that roadmap to discover the money in your business.
That is an awesome, awesome offer. You guys, make sure that you click the links below, reach out to Tom, go fill out and find out how he can help you find a whole bunch of money in your company. And he just said he's not even going to charge you for it. Now, if that's not a great deal, I don't know what is. So again, the links are below in the description. Make sure you click and reach out to Tom. Don't forget to subscribe. We will talk to you guys soon. Hey, thanks so much for watching. We hope you got value today. We want to give a huge shout out of gratitude to our contributors. Please make sure you click the subscribe button below and don't forget to click the bell up above to get reminders when we add new content.